Well, welcome back, everyone. Today, we're joined by siblings Jim Ruin and Chris Gonzalez, who are here to share their experiences with the CT cardiac calcium score screening. Now, it helped uncover some heart issues they didn't even know about. So we're also joined by Dr. Arabpour, who was key in making sure that they got the care that they needed. So, Chris and Jim, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, so what made you both decide to get the CT calcium score screening in the first place? And then also, what did it detect?
Well, basically, I came across it just by sheer luck, if you can say that. Taking my mom to a cardio rehab appointment, and I decided to walk down and get a cup of coffee at the Welcome Center this day, and found a brochure laying there, and I got to reading it and, thought a little bit about it and folded it up, put it in my pocket, took it home and looked at it one more time. And I thought, family history, and I have, cholesterol issue myself. And I thought, yeah, I better do this. So went ahead and scheduled the appointment, real easy procedure, 10 minutes. Got a letter back in the mail, explained my results, and went in for the heart cath and got in there, and Dr. Arabpour was asking questions if I was feeling okay, short of breath, tight chest. And I said, no, doc, I was at the Y yesterday working out, and feel pretty good. And so anyhow, he says, well, he got in there and did it, and didn't get too far in, and he said, yeah, Jim, you got some issues. And he told me beforehand that it could end up being, end up requiring open heart surgery, and it did. And so, yeah, that's next morning I was in, and they did a 5-way bypass surgery right here at Lima Memorial Hospital.
Wow. So, Chris, what about you? Did this all come from a brochure as well?
No, it came from my brother Jim. After his situation with him having open heart surgery, family history of heart disease, myself and my siblings decided to have this cardiac calcium scoring done. My number was also very high. I had an appointment with Dr. Arabpour. I ended up with having a cardiac catheterization done. However, I was more fortunate than my brother Jim. I'm being treated by medication and did not need to have any other procedures done at this point in time. So
right. So, doctor, I understand that the screening is used to detect the plaque buildup in the artery. So tell us what the screening detected for both Jim and Chris and how the next steps for their care were determined.
But one thing that I really want to emphasize, besides Chris and Jim, that as you can tell, they are totally different outcomes. One thing that they both share is, even if they had not been a bypass or revascularization in case of Jim, they both have been put under extreme scrutinizing risk factor modification. The cholesterol, we always go, 120, okay, it's not that bad, and we leave it alone. Or perhaps, doc, I only smoke like 2 or 3 cigarettes a day. My blood pressure has always been borderline, 140/90, but it's never been bad enough that require treatment. Once you know your calcium score, it puts you in a high risk. None of those things that I told you would be acceptable. So calcium score, in my opinion, is a sort of a reset point. You decide if you need to do everything differently so that you don't, down the road, need an open heart and balloon and stent, assuming that at this point, you don't need those. So following a calcium score, seeing your cardiologist, seeing a physician who's well-versed in basically the details of what calcium score means would give you the opportunity to do all those risk factor modification, in addition to determining if further testing such as the stress test, cardiac catheterization may be necessary.
Yeah, so Jim and Chris, it seems like you went to the right doctor, so good choice. All right, to find out your risk of heart disease today, you can actually schedule your CT cardiac calcium scoring test with Lima Memorial Radiology by just calling 419-226-5030. I want to thank you so much for coming on the show today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
All right, well, don't go away because we have more when we return.